All right, so I am here with Rick at his gorgeous home here in Boulder County, and we're just going to do a little quick testimonial. Rick, I appreciate you sharing your experience that you had with lime with others. So I'm just going to ask you a series of 4 questions, and the first question is simply, why did you choose lime over any other painting contractors?
Well, we moved into our home about a year ago in the summer of 2019. And shortly after, lime dropped off one of their assessment brochures. I thought it was pretty slick looking, and it looked like they had some good recommendations on work that needed to be done, but we had a lot of things going on then, and I kind of put it away for future reference. I think I lost track of it, and then about a year later, in the summer of 2020, another brochure showed up, and this time I paid a little more attention to it. So Matt dropped by a couple days later to ask if we had any interest in pursuing a project. I said, what really needs to be done? The house looks like it's in pretty good shape, and he was able to show me some cracks and stains in the stucco and how the trim had faded. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give us a proposal. So I think it was their low-key marketing, slick brochures, and then a sincere discussion with Matt and Tyler when Tyler stopped by about the scope of the work and what needed to be done, and how they went about things.
Well, that's a really good answer. Thanks so much for all that feedback. The second question is, so you kind of touched on it, what items did we service for you on your home?
The project had about 5 different phases. First and foremost was the stucco and coating the stucco, and I hadn't had any experience with stucco before, and it looked like lime painting based on their people showing up several times in our neighborhood over the past year had some expertise. So that was a big part of it, and then all the trim, and then we have extensive railings on 2 different decks, a stairway in the back and in the front here. So they coated all of the metal railings, and they also did some carpentry work where some pieces of siding were damaged off of the decks in the back of the house. And finally, the steps going from the main floor deck down to the lower level were stained. So those 5 phases and all were executed extremely well.
That's great to hear. It was a pretty extensive work there. Third question for you, Rick, is what did you like about our communication process? Just from the time that I knocked on your door and left the flyer to kind of that wrapping up to this point, what did you like about it? What stood out?
Well, I think everything was, extremely professional and well done. The marketing brochure that was dropped off, I quickly looked at the website, in follow-up to the brochure. The proposal was very thorough and understandable, along with some videos that, showed, some of the problem areas that needed attention. I think the texts and emails were all very good. They were all prompt in their follow-up and very concise in their communications.
That's great to hear. And so last question for you, Rick, is would you use lime again in the future, and also recommend us to fellow neighbors and friends?
I would not hesitate to use lime in the future, and would also recommend them to any neighbors and friends in the future. I think they're very professional. Their workers, seem to be extremely well trained. They showed up at dawn, worked till dusk, and a project that we thought would last about 7 days was done inside of 5 days. So no hesitation in using lime in the future or recommending them to others.
Rick, we really appreciate your feedback. Last thing, it's kind of customary for our clients to shout out something for our future potential clients. So what do you have to say to our future clients?
Get lime.
All right, Rick. Hey, I really appreciate the feedback, and it was a pleasure to service your home and work with you. You were a great client, so we really appreciate it. And everyone at Lime thanks you as well, Rick. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, thanks much. So just continuing here on the back of Rick's home. Like he said, we did all of his stucco. We coated that with Loxon XP. He actually has 2 colors throughout the home. He has kind of the base spotty stucco color. And then there's pop-out trim all around each window and some of his doors, which is a secondary lighter color. And we coated all of his fascia, his soffits, and his gutters and downspouts, some of the deck skirting here, all with I think we used Duration on this job from Sherwin-Williams. We use Pro Industrial DTM acrylic paint on his railings that expand across the entirety here of this lower level deck, and then there's a staircase that comes down, as well as an upper deck up here, and then there's one along the front as well. So those are the details that we performed here on Rick's home, and that's a wrap.